again, Radio Free Cybertron. I'm hosting. See you next week. Yes, Brian Kilby could not be here this week. You may recall over the last several weeks he's referenced recording his, fourth or fifth Christmas album in a row? So he's currently out right now on his Happy Holiday tour in Wilkes, doing some live performances at every smokehouse, hen house, and outhouse in the county line. To sold out
sponsored by
crowds.
Sheets.
Don't forget the Goose houses.
Goose House was a Japanese band that has kind of broken up since, but I like their work when they were a thing. That has nothing to do with Brian Kilby's Christmas album, but yeah, Brian's not here. He's off, entertaining the local populace in the way only he can. But everyone else is here this week. I'm joined by Matt, aka Melvar.
Hello.
Headmaster Don.
Hello.
Rob Clay.
Hello.
And I guess Diecast is here too.
Hey, everybody.
Of course, John DeLuna has kind of taken a step back from active participation in the show, but he's still there working behind the scenes. We think.
He'll be
We
back
can't
once
tell-
he gets all those toys opened.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, never.
Yeah, follow at that John D on Twitter and everywhere as it happens. He tweeted out a picture of his backlog today.
His
and
wall of backlogged toys.
yes, that is mighty and fearsome. And
It could be worse. It could be in a gunpla too. So it could always be a worse.
or a bunch of Lego kits. There's probably some Lego mixed into that. I know he buys Lego stuff here and there. But I mean that does seem to be like the big two backlog things. It's either Gundam kits or Lego. That just everybody buys and never has time or the inclination to put together. I avoid this by not buying Lego or Gundam kits. I do have a small stack of
I buy the
unbuilt-
occasional Lego kit. I enjoy them.
that 66 Batmobile is still around and is still very tempting at $30, but I need to
It's worth
resist that.
Get
I
it
need to
before it's
resist.
gone.
But no, I've got like a small stack of unbuilt Mega Blocks, Mega Construct stuff around, and that's kind of enough for me to represent the whole backlog culture, I think.
I have a knockoff full-size Millennium Falcon that I still haven't built yet.
I mean, that seems like a big time sink. That's not a small kit, genuine or otherwise.
But can you do it in less than 12 parsecs?
I don't think I can.
Good old classic sci-fi, not understanding distance units versus time units.
Inaccuracies.
Yeah.
Now on a tangent, I read something a long time ago that may or may not still hold true. Is that the whole thing? It would be right if you looked at it that all you're doing, all you're given is a starting point and an end point. How you get there is up to you. And if you only get it, if you take less, basically it's like golf. If you take less parsecs to get there,
If you
than
take a
your
shortcut.
opponents, yeah, basically. So Solo could have been right in saying, I did the Kessel run in less than 12 parsecs.
Yeah,
Meaning-
he came in 3 under parsec.
But so basically he went through less systems to get from A to B. It's like a cannonball run in space. You just travel the least amount of distance to get as far as But so that's
I'm pretty sure a cannonball run has a fixed distance, and it's the amount of time you take to get there. That's the whole point.
No one cares about Star Wars anymore. The Rancor didn't even fund.
Well, I mean, that's because that's from Return of the Jedi, which is the sequel trilogy of the original trilogy. Like, let's just be real here. Empire Strikes
It's
Back
also
is the
prequel trilogy of the original trilogy.
best. People like the prequel trilogy a lot more now that there is a sequel trilogy.
I don't.
Kind of funny.
Okay.
Funny how that works.
I'm gonna quote Austin Powers. Oh dear, I've gone cross-eyed. So there's that.
So I think at this point, we're past or right up against the cutoff for Toys for Tots collection. But I want to just, talk about Elf on a Shelf Warmer one last time because many years I end up talking about it at least once. I'm not going to be denied that this year just because the date is bad. But no, even though like it's too late at this point probably to drop off for Toys for Tots for distribution this year, if you have local resources in your area that serve disadvantaged children, reach out to them. They will be able to, because they are serving a smaller segment of the community, uh, more local reach, they'll be able to take that stuff and get it to where it needs to go later in the season than Toys for Tots can. And, the children served by those programs need it just as much as the kids that Toys for Tots will give those donations to. So, look around and find out what's going on in your community and see where you can help, because these kids that have little or nothing, like it's unimaginable the kind of conditions these kids have to deal with so early in life, and it will literally make the difference for their holiday and for just what is going on in their lifestyle right now to get one toy, one new unopened toy that you might donate to them. So, you can check with like your city hall for what's functioning in your area in that regard, and just see where you can pitch in for this. And just because the holiday is right up around the corner here, like the spirit of Elf on a Shelf Warmer is a year-long thing. You don't have to just do it leading up to Christmas. Anytime you see a clearance toy, or just something that's hanging around and you want it out of the way so something new can come in, think about picking that up and just putting it aside until the end of the year. The stuff does not go bad, and any of these kids, they're not going to really mind if the toy is a year old, even 2 years old. It is still a new, fresh toy to these kids that have nothing of their own like that. So, please keep this in mind throughout the year. It doesn't have to just be right now, but there could still be time in your local community to make a difference in some poor child's life. So please, get out there and see what you can still do in this time. And I just want to, I don't have anything approaching like a list of who all has kicked in and, reported back to us through the hashtags on Twitter and Instagram, but everyone who has participated in this and given back to the community this way, thank you so much for what you did. This has been an awesome response this year. I've seen a lot of cool stuff come through on Twitter, and it has just been, every time I see one of these, little, big, whatever piles of stuff going to a Toys for Tots box or anywhere it's going, it really seriously does brighten up my day just to remember that, there are cool people in our community and they're doing what they can to make life better for other people, and I love that. So thank you all so much for this.
Well said.
Thank you. I get to do this one time a year, so I try to make it count. So after that, I'm going to do a little selfish, shameless plugging of my own projects here. So I'm working on my 25 Days of Toy Photography virtual advent calendar project on playwithphotography.com. I just posted day 15 today, which was the, what was it? See, this is the problem with scheduling stuff days in advance, because you kind of forget what goes where. So today was the Robot Spirits Gelgug Jaeger from Gundam 0080. So that's it's the third week of Gundam stuff coming out in the middle of the week. So I guess there's a little bit of a pattern there. But this was a really fun one to shoot, and it's actually a really nice toy. There's been some ups and downs with this, with how the stuff has kind of sat with me after I've worked with it a little bit. But, I'm trying to get some stuff out there that's kind of interesting and different and stuff that, I kind of just need an excuse to make myself get around to doing. But I've been trying to make this be stuff that's kind of interesting to me, and hopefully I can express some of that interest outward, too. So, couple less positive days, but I'm trying to kind of keep it upbeat. So there's still 10 days of this left from here. So keep following the Twitter account at playwithphotos, or go to playwithphotography.com/advent calendar, all one word, and you can see everything that's been posted so far. Keep coming and checking back there every day, and you can see what the latest entry is. Do we have anything else we need to plug before we get into this? nothing's jumping out at me. Anybody have any plugs?
I guess I'll hold mine till the end.
Yeah, that's fair enough. All right. So we'll jump into the news. We don't have like a lot of news this week. It's a little bit thin. It's the off season for news, kind of. Which I guess it kind of works out in its own way, since this is, end of the year. We do our review episode, and so we don't have to really worry too much about the stuff that's happened over the last month or so, because not much really ever does. Because boy, those year in review shows are kind of a drag enough as it is. Damn it, Kilby.
Yeah.
I swear, if Kilby calls out doing the year in review show,
We'll just cancel it.
Well, then he'll take whatever he gets, and we'll just have to be creative.
or we could do like Diecast said and just cancel it. I think we'd all be fine with that. All right, so from the Hollywood Reporter, apparently Skybound Comics is in talks to acquire the Transformers and G.I. Joe publishing license.
Is that Skyfire's brother?
No,
No,
I don't
that's Robert Kirkman's imprint.
Which I'd never heard of before this story, but I'm not big in the comic scene, so that's probably more my problem. So this is not the first rumor-ish we've heard that someone's trying to pick up the Transformers license, or that IDW might not have the Transformers license anymore. There was one suggestion from an outlet that I don't really credit very much with reliability, that Image might have been also in the works here. I don't know much about Skybound, but Image Comics Transformers kind of gives me pause. But I mean, I think we're kind of looking at, the same net result here either way, which is that it's kind of looking bad for IDW continuing to be a Transformers publisher.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, after the reboot, it seemed like things kind of went downhill.
I mean, there was definitely some struggles at that point of turnover, but it seems like it's been, in terms of like story and production quality, it seems like it's picked back up.
Oh, okay.
I think it took a while to find its footing,
Yeah.
but since then it's been fairly consistent.
I mean, one thing that happened when they did the continuity turnover, they seemed to want to bring in like all new creative staff for the books. And, finding the right people to fill those roles is not something that's going to happen immediately necessarily.
That's always rough on a book too, whenever you have beloved creative teams who are replaced. Like,
yeah,
that always hurts sales.
When you have writers who have a particular voice that your readership is used to for the dialogue, like, that's going to be a massive adjustment period. The same with changing artists.
And yeah, not even disparaging the creative teams that are coming aboard. It's just that people become uncomfortable when a team they already love is being replaced. Doesn't matter who's replacing them.
Yeah, exactly. People are used to one thing, and no matter what, it's going to take a while for people to warm up to the newcomers. I mean, like, we were really lucky with Transformers comics for several years because we had a very stable pool of writers and art talent. I remember in the early 2000s, even with the Marvel comics, when I was buying those more regularly, like, you'd go 4 or 5 issues and suddenly you'd have a completely different art style for one thing, which was never a lot of fun. The writers would change. Everything would just kind of... There was not a lot of stability in those comics for the most part. Maybe outside of a very select few titles that they tried to keep the same people on, but Transformers was very stable with that for a long time, and so that especially is going to make any shift in the creative side more jarring to the readership.
It also didn't help that first arc was kind of extremely slow, which I understand they were trying to establish a setting and establish what Cybertron is like before things start going terribly, terribly wrong. But just it was that it was like what 4 to 6 issues, and just go at the beginning, just kind of not really going anywhere.
Yeah.
But I've seen a lot of people who've really enjoyed it since, so it does seem like it found its footing, and I definitely feel bad for that audience if it turns out that these books are all about the end.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if IDW loses the license, will Hasbro give them time to wrap things up? Because Skybound will need time to get all their ducks in a row. Because there's got to be a time which I'm sure Skybound is actually drafting stuff to jump on the fact that there's a good chance we may get this license. Let's start getting some basic stuff down, but there's still going to be a delay in switching the stuff over, which may give IDW time to finish things up.
I feel like, there would be interested parties at Skybound if these talks are happening like is being reported. I think they would probably minimize what resources they would put into development until they would actually have an agreement in writing to produce the comics.
There's also the chance that Kirkman was briefly part of the Transformers writers room that led up to the unwieldy stack of stapled together scripts that became The Last Night. So it's entirely possible he may have some pet storylines that he is already ready to hand off to people and have implemented in these comics.
Yeah, I think in a case like this, there is already some, at least, basic outline of an idea to start things off with, and then, you find the right writer and artist to bring those together and actually make the book, but I don't think any of that would actually be happening until there's agreement signed. Kirkman's probably talking to people in Skybound, if this happens, would you be interested in doing this? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I mean, if IDW loses Transformers, is the company going to survive? I'm just saying that's a big chunk of their, of their total
notoriety.
Notoriety. Thank you. I'm going to think of the word I want to think of, and
I hope so. I don't think they've reprinted all of Dick Tracy yet.
It's just they've. Again, I stopped reading right at the end before All Hail Megatron started, so I have not read anything since basically right before when Furman left and all that came to a grinding halt right before All Hail Megatron. But it just seems like, I don't know, is IDW, are they not? Why is this? If this happens, why? Is it because of the quality of IDW? Is it because the
Hasbro is probably not happy with sales figures?
It's all about money.
Mm-hmm.
There's also been things going on in the last couple of years that has, put a not great light on IDW's future in general. The business side of that has not been going great, and the whole pandemic situation did not make it any better. You ask if IDW will survive if they don't have Transformers anymore. I think probably the bigger question is, does IDW have it in them to survive another year or two either way? If Hasbro's people are looking at what's going on with IDW and seeing that there's a good chance this company may fold in the next 24 months, do we want to have our properties associated with a company that goes bankrupt? They're going to say no, and they're going to start looking to shop that around somewhere else, so that to the outside there is continuity of the printed material, but it's not going to be associated with, well, these people went out of business. They don't want to have Dreamwave happen to them again, for one thing.
Yeah, nobody needs to be Dreamwave.
That was a long time ago, but the people at Hasbro are aware. Everyone still remembers that and talks about that to this day. It happened a long time ago. It is still in the fandom consciousness.
Well, I hope then that part of their initiative is making sure that all of IDW's existing artists get paid, because that's a lot of what we still talk about with Dreamwave.
Yeah, I mean, Dreamwave was delinquent on their payments to their people for a long while before the official bankruptcy went through. And like, I don't have any firsthand knowledge of this, but I would suspect and hope IDW is not in the same situation with its people yet. And hopefully not at all. Like, I don't want to append the yet to that, like it's an inevitability. But yes, I agree. Priority one should be paying their employees and contractors. But no, I think that probably just because of IDW's unstable, uncertain situation right now, which is not showing signs of getting better, that's probably why Hasbro would be looking to shop the license around and get someone else who has more stability underneath them.
Well, I'll just say I am kind of glad that. Well, I'm not glad about IDW's situation. Even if I've not read the books, I can respect the work they've done and the amount of blood, sweat, and tears they put into bringing these characters to life and giving depth to characters that had no depth at all in the past. But I am kind of glad if they're going to be moving the license, it's not to Marvel or DC. Just because I've been through too much heartache with both companies, editorial mandates, and things like that, which I would hope would not be as much of a issue with a smaller company like that.
Yeah, see, one thing I had been thinking when the rumor came up that IDW was not going to have the license much longer, I was thinking Hasbro might be looking to Boom, who publishes the Power Rangers comics, because, through Power Rangers they would already have a working relationship with them.
But that also would diverse their comics among different companies, so you're not putting all your eggs in one basket.
And I mean, it's possible too. Boom knows their limits, and Hasbro may have come to them with this, and Boom declined because they can't put the resources on it.
I don't know if Boom knows their limits or not, because I think they're starting a third monthly Power Rangers comic. But
well, they definitely don't know my limits then, because it's too many Power Rangers comics at one time. But
apparently they sell pretty well, though. So
yeah,
too much Boom energy is dangerous.
I was varying degrees of whelmed with the Boom Power Rangers comics I tried to read, but
they're all over the place for me. Don't read the original graphic novels. I'll just say that.
The reception to Boom's Power Rangers comics seems to vary wildly, just based on like what you think of Power Rangers as a franchise, like how you internalize that. Some people are really into the kind of stories Boom is telling. Other people think that this is not anything like Power Rangers has ever been or should be, and like it kind of runs that gamut, just depending on like what you think Power Rangers is. The people who are really invested in the series, the TV series, and the nature of what that is, seem to more not want what Boom is doing. The people who think Power Rangers is more of a storytelling universe that should be expanded and explored in different ways, those people are more up for the different kind of things Boom is doing. So, like, I don't think either side is wrong in their interpretation of this. It's just there's a very wide field there.
Yeah.
But like Matt points out, the sales for them seem to be doing just fine regardless. If you could take Transformers to Boom and get Boom to do their thing with that and get those kind of sales figures, everybody would be happy, but I don't think there's anything close to a guarantee with that. And, Skybound as a smaller publisher might be the right fit for something like Transformers and G.I. Joe, which they have their audiences, but they don't have huge audiences.
Part of the Boom success, though, with Power Rangers is that they have a tendency to get writers who really love Power Rangers and want to make Power Rangers comics.
That's kind of important, yeah.
Yeah. Transformers needs to do that, too.
Well, we had that with IDW from 2005 or 2009 to, 2018?
I'm just wondering.
Those were good times.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Don.
I'm sorry. I'm just wondering at some point, do you think Hasbro is going to hub again, but with print media? Do you think they're going to open their own, where everything print related, comics, magazines?
There's a lot of logistics and overhead with producing print media, and that is
Right, exactly.
Hasbro does not have that infrastructure in place, and I don't even think their E1 acquisition brings them anything that would fulfill that. So, like, at some point in the future, I could see maybe Hasbro wanting to in-house all of their media production, but right now they definitely do not have anything close to what they would need to actually make that work. And it would be a disaster anyway. It would be the hub again, like you say.
Yeah,
Nobody wants to see
I
that
agree.
happen again.
I would love a Prime ongoing comic that sets up after the series ends. I've always wanted a Robots in Disguise comic from 2000, that Dreamwave that the RID lost to Beast Wars comic that was never produced.
I mean, if you think about going back when there was, print pack-in material with the Transformers toys, that was always produced by their, licensed parties. So Dreamwave made the mini comics for the Armada toys. Any comic pack-ins with the later generation stuff was IDW. None of that has happened in-house with Hasbro. So, it's not something they have been or seem to be wanting to do themselves. So maybe, printed material, the hub, would be something in the future, but I don't think anytime soon. So we have some sad news. Henry Orenstein, who is credited as basically maybe not the creator, but the visionary innovator who brought the Transformers to Hasbro, has passed away. I don't really like reporting on deaths in general, but this is kind of notable because he was the man who went to the toy fair that year and saw the Diaclone toys and just had that flash of inspiration. These would sell great if somebody was marketing them right, because Takara had already tried to sell Diaclone in the US and nobody cared. But, pick that up, take it to Hasbro, get them to craft some story and some characters around them, and you got a hit. So Henry Orenstein, who passed away, basically facilitated everything we have right now. If he had not made that discovery at that toy fair, there's a good chance Transformers would not have happened in anything near the capacity we have. We would be, Radio Free Gobatron right now, probably.
I would like to borrow a dimensional viewer.
See the reality where that happened.
yes. I will borrow Professor Farnsworth alternate dimension viewer to see, because I want to see how that unfolded. I'd be a Tux Man or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, it is a good question, though. If Transformers had not been a thing, would Tonka have pursued GoBots as anything more than we licensed some toys, here's a year's worth of product? Would they have, kept pushing along with that for any length of time?
Well, GoBots didn't make it to market first, so they were, again, that whole thing is, wibbly wobbly timey wimey. But it's interesting to think, what if GoBots, in some reality, was that Transformers and how it took off?
Actually, a more interesting reality would be, what if Tonka licensed the Diaclone toys and made GoBots out of those? See, that's what you need your alternate dimension viewer for, to see that reality, because that's the interesting one.
And somewhere, an alternate version of me is thinking, hey, remember them robot things that weren't the GoBots or the Diaclones? What was them things? yeah. Why didn't they take it,
Of course, there's also the alternate reality where Stan Lee imported Bioman. Because that was something he was trying to do at one point.
Sun Vulcan, I believe.
Somebody tried to import Bioman, too.
That was Heimspawn.
Oh, okay.
That was around the time he originally came up with the Power Rangers idea.
Well, there you go.
And just to stick a pin in it, somewhere out there, there's a world where Dynaman took off and became the superhero franchise that's still running to this day.
I'm just still baffled how USA Network's Dynaman even happened.
I see that as I see the alternate universe for that as kind of being more one where it took the place of Mystery Science Theater 3000.
Okay, interesting idea.
Yeah, like, cult classic, huge following, passing tapes around, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where USA's Dynaman would have gone if it had gone big.
Strange times. So, has anybody had any luck hunting for new toys lately?
Kind of, sort of.
So we've had reports that Walmarts in the U.S. have begun to receive Kingdom Deluxe Wave 5, which the new toys in that are Pipes and Slammer. And also, Studio Series Bumblebee movie Soundwave has turned up at U.S. retail. Bizarrely, because that's not supposed to even be out until like February.
Like street dates, just it's a suggestion. It's a mild suggestion. You have to follow or not.
Walmart doesn't care for your silly street dates, Don.
I mean, honestly, too, Walmart's not gonna, hold a toy in their back room for 2 months.
No, they'll just keep putting it on the shelf.
I don't think there should be street dates on this stuff. The only thing I can understand street dates for is the movie toys, because if they want to coincide it with the movie release. But yeah, I mean, they shouldn't have release dates. They should just eliminate those and say, we'll ship it when this is roughly going to be 2 months, and we'll ship it when we get it.
Okay, so for brick and mortar retail, except for the case, like you say, where there's a movie and they want a coordinated product launch, there's not street dates or on-sale dates. The on-sale dates apply specifically to their online retailers who have direct accounts with Hasbro.
Which bothers me, because why should retail stores be able to sell it, but online stores can't sell it?
Because they have all the power, Diecast. And by power, I mean money. And Hasbro wants that money. I mean, no, that is exactly it. There was a long stretch of years where internet retail was a strong factor, and the toys would very often be available through that channel before they would hit your local Walmart or Target or whatever. The retail stores didn't like that they were losing the business to the online marketplace, and so they exercised their financial power against Hasbro and said, basically, we want to have this stuff on our shelves first. After we sell it for a while, then you can let the online stores sell it. Now, of course, anyone who's outside of that direct fulfillment system with Hasbro doesn't have to obey that, because Hasbro has no control over how they get their inventory or what they do with it. But the major players that get their inventory from Hasbro, if they sell the stuff before they're supposed to or whatever, Hasbro can and probably would be forced to, penalize them in some way, withhold future shipments. There would be problems from doing that, but places that go through like Entertainment Earth wholesale, even though Entertainment Earth might have to observe a on sale date, the people that they supply don't necessarily have to. So it's a whole weird thing, but like it all comes down to Target and Walmart want to sell you the stuff first. They want your money before the online stores get to have it. So we have on sale dates for online retail, but the stores can do basically whatever the hell they want. Target does still seem to street date some of their stuff, even when it's not movie related, but that seems to be Target's decision more than something that's mandated to them.
It seems like
sometimes that's a reset date.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also like 3 months after. I mean, we've all got stuff at Target that we couldn't get because of this. But it's like this date is arbitrary. It's already been found elsewhere, but it's still like 2 months out from when even before it says you could buy it. So it's like,
well, and the best example of that too is when, because all the stuff is cross-referenced for Transformers by assortment, you know, they will update a new on-sale date or a new street date in their system for an upcoming wave of toys, but that retroactively gets applied to stuff that's already on the shelf that you could buy yesterday. That happened a few times in Siege as the waves were coming through. I remember those specific examples. But yeah, I mean, that's a Target thing. That's not a thing that Hasbro has mandated. And Walmart, occasionally at Walmart, you will find something that is locked out of the system for sale for no clear reason. It just is. But for the most part, Walmart is very, very happy to sell you anything that's on the shelf.
I mean, Target's also the one that says, "Hey, this is brand new. We just got it. We just got it in this week. Next week, it's on clearance."
Yeah. I mean, my favorite high to clearance story has always been the Prince of Persia movie toys, which I swear to you came out at clearance.
Probably.
I would not be surprised.
I mean, that was a period in time where I was going to Toys R Us like on a weekly basis, like every week to 2 weeks, and one visit there were no Prince of Persia toys in that store. The next time they were there and they were all clearanced out already. So like they had to have come in and immediately been put on clearance. It was the craziest thing.
My weirdest experience was,
and it's also the only reason I remember the Prince of Persia movie existed. Sorry, Don, I had to get that part in there.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine. Now, I was at a Target near, this was many years ago, near Acme Comics in Greensboro, and they were doing a reset as far as shelving and layout change.
Mm-hmm.
I found a Jenny Tartakovsky Clone Wars Mace Windu on the floor, waxed to the floor. That was under the gondola. And I was more in Star Wars then, so I was able to peel it up off the floor and took it to a price scanner. And it scanned at $7.74. Now, this was 5 years after the Jenny Tartakovsky Clone Wars had ended. So I went to a manager and told him, this is about 5 years old. It was waxed to the floor, showed him the thing. What is the actual price? He says, what did it scan at? $7.74. That's the regular price. That's the price. I said, sir, the thing is 4 years old. It was waxed to the floor. He says, that's okay. We can throw it in claims and get credit for it from the manufacturer.
Yep. I mean, it was much the same at Walmart with the whole claims thing. Like, they would much rather, if something's got damaged packaging, yeah, just toss it in the bin. We'll scan it off the system. They'll pay us back for it, and we'll put it in the compactor. I remember one time when I worked at Walmart, it was not a product. It was part of a display unit. It was this, like, seriously, like, wrought iron lattice thing. I don't remember what the display was for, but they weren't using it anymore, and it was supposed to be disposed of, and it's like, put it in the compactor. That is not going to crush. That's made of metal. But, you know, not my problem, so I put it in the compactor and pushed the button, and I walked away. I didn't wait around to see what happened. Because, again, that's not my problem.
Mm-hmm.
Not your circus, not your monkeys.
No. I assume the compactor continued to work after that, because I never heard that it broke down from putting a piece of iron in it. But, you know. Good times at the old Walmart. All right. But yeah, I was out at Walmart today shopping, and there was not anything new like this, unfortunately. Haven't seen Blaster yet either.
I did see the Swoop Bumblebee set today when I stopped by mine.
I don't pay a lot of attention to the regular Cyberverse stuff when I'm out. I know some of those green box Cyberverse stuff has been cycling through the store because, like, I pay enough attention to know, oh, that's different than last time. Unfortunately, my Walmart has apparently decided to stop carrying Cyberverse Deluxes, which is mildly inconvenient. Especially since I never got to, find a $13 Cheetor.
Dang.
Yeah. I would have bought Slug for $13 also, just because, you know.
They don't ring up that.
Well, if you're determined enough and, you know, have enough time to kill to get enough levels of management involved, you'll get it for that.
But I'm just saying the natural scan on whatever remaining price checkers you might have, only Cheetor comes up at that price. All the ones I've ever scanned are regular retail.
Weird. That's very weird. Walmart's so crazy. So our last news item, this would probably be better if Brian was here, but I just threw this in because I didn't know if we were going to need some padding for time. So Super 7 has revealed the shattered glass version of their Super Cyborg Optimus Prime figure. Don, you might be interested in this.
No, thank you. Not at that price, but I appreciate you letting me know.
Oh, that's true. It is like $85 or something.
Yeah, I don't get this. I think their $55 price point stuff is
high,
much nicer than this $85.
I mean,
they're going for the whole. They're going for the whole Japanese clear robot. Here's the guts, kind of. I don't remember what that was. Not Super Shogun, but something.
Jumbo Machinder, I think, was the Japanese.
That was the name for it. It's something along. That's what they're going for. It's a different aesthetic.
Warriors.
That's what that was here.
Yeah, that's what it was here.
Yeah, Jumbo Machinder, Shogun Warriors, just depends. But I mean,
I can't.
It's a very specific product category that, you know, it is exactly what it's trying to be. And they keep doing different versions of this, which, I mean, I know they got to recoup their mold costs, but, like, I would think at some point they'd stop trying to sell these if nobody was buying any of the previous ones. So someone must be buying these.
And you know this means that they're going to do a Shattered Glass sound wave in white with probably the headband.
Maybe not the headband, but probably otherwise, yeah.
I would kind of like this better if they did add the way some figures of this type do, which is to have a clear plastic version of the chest that you could put in place of the painted one and not just leave it open.
Like a clear purple chest piece on this would probably look kind of nice.
Oh, yeah. But the only other thing I have to say about this is I do think it's kind of neat that they have done up a shattered glass version of the original Optimus Prime box art.
Interesting observation, yeah. Okay, cool. So I think that does it for the news this week. We got more distance out of that than I thought we would. Fortunately, I'm able to just talk about nothing for quite a while. All right, so let's go to what we got this week. Rob, did you get anything this week?
I got a fair number of things this week. Let me see if I can remember what they are.
Well, this is backfired on me. I went to you first because I assumed you would have one or two things. I thought I'd go in, like, you know, probable ascending order, but that's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see. First off, I was hoping to have it by last week's show. Not that it's related to the show at all, but they just put out a collection of Akira Toriyama's one-shots called Akira Toriyama's Manga Theater. It's basically everything, every one-shot he did in his career before Dragon Ball and basically up to the end of it. And it's a pretty hefty book. For the cover price is $35, ran me like $30 on Amazon. Many years ago, I guess about 25 years ago now, I wound up finding a volume of this at a used bookstore in Baltimore in Japanese. So it is really nice to actually have this in English after all that time. Let's see. That's the first thing I got. I got Amazon had on markdown. Nippon Ichi has put out a collection of some of their older PS2 strategy games for the Switch, including I got it because it has Soul Nomad and the World Eaters, which is one of very very few games to take the Ogre Battle combat system and go anywhere with it, because that is a very unusual thing to take, unit based strategy games and actually do anything with it. You have a lot more direct, a little bit more direct control than the original Ogre Battle, but it's the same basic premise in terms of how the combat system is laid out. It's pretty good. So, that was on markdown, had to get it. Got a new kitchen roof finally. That took several months of trading emails with contractors. I finally got a reasonable and quick response when I stopped being polite about it. So,
wow, imagine.
Yeah. Just like, instead of, hey, would you get back to us whenever? It's like, okay, it's been a month since you said next week for sure. So now what?
Hey, Don, a polite letter is not always the answer.
Well, no, believe me, I know. I've been on the verge of cussing people out for 2 months.
Yeah, there's the beyond the polite letter is the last resort terse letter, and that's what got me there. So, let's see. I got that. I got a box of Gundam G-Frame Volume 6, which has the Gundam ground type, the RX-78-5 Gundam, and the gun cannon.
With rocks.
Yes, with rock. And luckily there's an extra Gundam ground and a gun cannon with rock for you. So those are in that stack at the moment.
Damn it.
I really ought to build like the last 2 cases of these I've got. But time
is the fire in which we burn.
Yes. And yet somehow I am running out of fire, which is just, But okay, I'm trying to think. I swear there was something else in there, but this hasn't been a good week for Brain.
What about
Brain
Pinky?
is just Pinky's been doing much better. It has definitely been a Narf kind of week. But
I know the feeling.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's the other thing I got. I got a lovely little care package from Bandai Namco Entertainment that had like a branded hoodie and sweatpants, which sadly were not in my size, so they've gone to family members that are much smaller than I am. But a really nice little water bottle that I have been using regularly, and some other little branded things. So it was nice of them to think of me for that, and I am grateful for it. And I think that is actually about everything I picked up this week.
It must be fun to be on Bandai Namco's nice list.
It is so far, yes.
Sincerely, I am so pleased for you to have reached this point in the things you're doing. That is super cool.
I never really expected to get the recognition I'm getting, but yeah, it's nice, and I really am again thankful to them for setting me up with some of the stuff they have set me up with. It's been nice to just get a hold of some of this stuff immediately.
Don, you tried to raise your hand when I was calling on Rob, so why don't we go with you?
Oh yeah, I figured I had the least amount of stuff of anybody this week. It's just not been a very productive week as far as looking for things.
A bit Narf?
A bit
Zord?
Just life. Point sounds good. Thanks to Brickinator, though, I finally have Red Alert.
Woo, woo, woo.
So
nice.
I sent him the Sky Warp from the Amazon 2-pack because I don't really need an Air Razor's all I really need.
Maximal Sky Warp.
Air Razor's the only one I really wanted in that mold as she is. Sky Warp didn't really mean anything to me, and he was having trouble getting it. And of course, we know the trouble getting Red Alert. So we swapped out figures.
Nice.
Pro tip, shipping to Canada
sucks.
For less than 13 ounces. It was still first class.
And,
$20.
Yes, $20. That's the base.
$20.
That's the base cost of shipping to Canada.
Yeah, so there's that. But the cool thing is he got a figure he didn't have. I finally got Red Alert, so I'm happy. The other thing that I got, I mentioned this on Twitter. When I went by Walmart looking for Blaster with no luck, I found new Cyberverse. Dead End.
Oh, that's the Scout class ones?
No, the Warrior class.
Warrior, okay. Okay.
Yeah, this is the Warrior class.
That's right.
End.
The Scout class have open packages, right?
I didn't see any there, but the Scout class is one of the ones that does not transform. It's got like this weird half transformation thing.
Yeah, the little action feature one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but no, this is the one that actually converts.
Okay, cool.
Yep. So there's that, and one more step in my Cyberverse Dinobot collection, Slag.
Nice.
Well, damn you, sir. Damn you.
Well, I also have a second if you need it, because I bought two. They had several, but I knew a lot of people were looking for this for their Dinobot collection.
Mhm.
So I do have a second one if you need it.
I will think it over and get back to you at a later time.
Yeah, because that's why I was looking at the swoop from the 2-pack. Is I kind of want to wait for a better swoop, but also I know once these swoops are gone, that could be it.
And there probably isn't a better swoop coming, Don.
Right, exactly. So that's why I'm thinking about if I want because there's very few teams I'm a completist on. If I do it, I'll get the Coneheads, I'll get the Insecticons. Dinobots is the one I kind of want. If they do a team, I want the team because it doesn't feel right without all of them. So, but yeah, I've checked everywhere for blasters and anything else, and it just ain't there yet.
Well, diecast?
The only thing I got worth mentioning is I got that gigantic robot that turns into a sniper rifle.
Oh, one of those.
Yeah, I got I think it's NBK or something like that. I got the blue and white one. The only thing that bothers me, it has a very Optimus Prime head, and I really wish that it was. I mean, the robot's so generic. I really wish it wasn't like an Optimus Prime head.
They should have given it the face of the DJD member that has the rifle alternate mode.
Voss,
thank you.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of throws it off for me. I wish they would have came up with their own unique head sculpt.
Well, I mean, designing a character's face can be a very difficult thing to do, and then enacting that into a sculpt can be even worse. That's why a lot of third-party toys look the way they do.
Yeah, but yeah, I didn't bring it down to show on video, but you can take a look at it on my Twitter at Diecast2.
And I'm sure you'll do a review of it very soon on your YouTube channel, right?
Who knows? Possibly. Possibly.
Well, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you're going to have a lot more time to play with that you can juggle your own schedule.
Yeah, I definitely have to get that review space cleaned off because it's got cluttered up over the
years,
over the last couple months. Yeah.
I know this feeling.
Yeah.
So Chris, if he's got time to play, is he playing with photography?
Well, no, he's doing videography.
That's Chris's job.
Yes.
Not taking Chris's job.
Good. We would have to fight. And then I would just bleed all over you, and nobody would be having a good time. Okay, so I only got one thing this week, which is Golden Disc Collection Jackpot, and it's everything everybody's been saying about it. Which you know, the only problem with it is that head sculpt, and we've been saying for a long time that since there's no BotCon anymore, Hasbro's really been stepping up and filling the role of like BotCon sets with selects and things like that.
This fills that.
So yeah, Hasbro has finally given us a toy that fills the FunPub new mold element experience with this very, very troubled new head sculpt.
Well, how is mine compared to the running? Because
it's in the floor now, Don. That looks about average from what I like. It's hard to tell on the webcam, but it looks like you got the one side pitched up about the same as anybody else. The best one I've seen so far has been from Ness. He posted pictures in our Discord, tfradio.net/Discord, and the hemispheres of his jackpot are very close to being symmetrical. The chin strap on his is not great, but like the top of the head is pretty level. But like I have not seen one yet that is, right.
The fact that I can make the unevenness of that out on the like little 3-inch diagonal rectangle on my screen that is Don's webcam is kind of disturbing.
Yeah.
I mean, probably you can see the same thing on mine. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I think yours actually looks a tiny bit better compared to Don's, but
yeah, it's hard to tell for sure. Like, I can definitely notice the unevenness of it, but it is not like hugely glaring where I hate it existing. We've all been there with something or other. But I mean, it's definitely not right. The one thing mine seems to have going for it is that it has like unusually equal chin strap segments. You know, a lot of them I see one side or the other will be a lot thinner looking than its neighbor, and mine is pretty uniform. It's not perfect. You know, none of these are perfect, but like I think in the grand scheme of the jackpot lottery here, like I did okay. It has been pointed out that you can like get a knife blade into the gap in the head and break the glue and cut through the peg, and then if you smooth the inside surfaces down a little bit, glue it back together, you can more or less fix this.
But it's major surgery.
It is surgery beyond the scope that I am really inclined to pursue. But you know, the option is out there. I will say though, like deco wise, it really pops in hand. I like the way it looks. It's just, you know, the shame about that head and also all the clear plastic, as usual with a jazz mold. I mean, after the whole buzzworthy cup and cliff jumper thing that we talked about last week, like I am sitting here wondering, well, are they going to do another go at jazz with opaque plastic now? Like,
do we know that those buzzworthy things, are they actually opaque plastic?
They are.
Or are they just painted over?
No, they are opaque plastic. More photos and in-hand accounts have come out, and yes, they are the toys that you wish you would have bought in the first place.
Now I definitely need that cup.
Well,
Same.
Yeah, I mean, so like with the additional photos of that cup, like the deco differences besides having the opaque chest window, you know, there's color differences. The eyes are blue now instead of being dead black. Like, it's subtle differences in the rest of the deco, but it makes such a difference to that toy. I am just so irritated I was an early adopter. You know, with Cliff Jumper, if I never had another go at that toy as Cliff Jumper, like, it's fine. I can deal with that. It's, you know, the one I have has paint chipping because of all the painted surfaces, and I think they kind of all have that problem, but, you know, it's not terrible. Cup just was a disappointing effort the first time around, and
well, here's the thing though, Chris. It's Cup. We got him because we really didn't expect to see a Cup anytime ever again for a while. So, I mean, of course we're going to get him because he's part of the 86 movie line. We had no reason to expect we would be getting something redecoed for Cup of all characters this soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I already had LG Cup. I didn't even need to buy the first Studio Series Cup. I don't even really like the mold that much, but now that they've made it look this good, I'm compelled to buy it again. I hate it. Yeah. I'm going to buy it. Put that on a shirt.
TFRadio.com/shirts.
Okay, he's falling asleep over there, and he's been waiting his turn patiently. So, Matt, why don't you regale us with the epic of your haul?
Okay. Probably not as epic as you think.
I'm using the word
scale wise.
Yeah, I'm using the word epic in terms of like this is going to take a bit.
From days
probably not as long
ago.
Probably not as long as you think, because there's some stuff I just don't want to talk about in Lightning Collection. But
why don't you want to talk about your Lightning Collection toys, Matt?
Because the quality continues to be absolute crap. So I'm just not going to talk about them, except for Scorpina, which turned out wonderfully.
Now that comes in a 2-pack with Aisha, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Sentai toys I will talk about. I got the Shoto Super Bioman set.
Ooh, for the man.
Oh, nice.
For the man, indeed. Love that. I never did get the Bio Hunter. I can't find that anywhere, but you know, I may have to live without that one.
You can live without that one.
Live without that one, yes. I do have his mech in Super Mini platform, so that's the thing. But Moving along, Marvel Legends. I got my classic Tigra.
I would like to find one of her.
She is a very lovely shade of orange.
Yeah.
Nice head, a couple extra hands. The tail kind of pops off. It just plugs in. But all the joints are nice and tight. Everything. She looks great. She's got a very subtle little fur sculpting on like her forearms and elbows and the backs of her thighs, just so it's not like all smooth. It's not just a paint job. There is some actual sculpting detail there
on the easy to replace parts.
Really detailed feet too. It's nice. She even has little talons on the hands. So that's a really good figure. I'm super happy with that purchase. So that's another West Coast Avenger for the pile.
Or Avengers Academy.
West Coast Avengers.
No, it's West Coast Avengers. And I got the Excalibur set.
Oh,
neat.
Which is Megan, Captain Britain, and Shadowcat. So I'm 4/5 of the way to a proper Excalibur now because I have Nightcrawler. They just need to make a freaking Rachel Phoenix.
Haven't they done her before?
They got to get around to it eventually.
Which they have stated on some of the streams that, yeah, we know we're missing one. We
nudge,
sure
wink,
could
wink,
use a
hint,
Rachel. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. They have to find a spot for it. But so I did get some Transformers. I already gave a little sneak peek at Pipes, and I love Pipes.
Nice.
Oh, he is so beautiful.
Wonderful.
I love that. That deco is so simple, but I've always liked Pipes more than Huffer. I just love that deco.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a really nice, deep, like royal blue too. Along with the white, it just really pops. I really love it. Like Chris said last time, obviously they did not fix the problem where in truck mode he kind of tilts down in the center. But I mean, the robot mode is so good. I'm willing to let that slide.
Where did you get him from?
Big Bad. Same place I got Slammer.
That early shipment.
Yeah. So Slammer is a weaponizer in every sense of the word. I mean, there is no transforming here. It is pull him apart and reassemble him in a different configuration. But I mean, I love weaponizers, so I'm not going to complain too much about that. And chainsaw swords, yeah, just excellent. So yeah, Slammer's really nice. Finally got my Toy Colors Kingdom Galvatron, and oh my god, it's so much nicer in hand than I thought it was going to be. I love this thing so much. Those toy colors,
they pop. It is so like vibrant in hand. It's amazing. It's the most vibrant gray I've ever seen.
Yes, and the shoulders are, correctly assembled. Thank you, Diecast. So, okay, now I need a Toy Colors Cyclonus. Toy Colors Kingdom Cyclonus, because I have the Scourge mold. The sweep is Toy Colors. This is Toy Colors. I need a Toy Colors Cyclonus to go along with it.
I think that's coming in Selects 2022.
Nice.
I should hope so. I became impatient with pre-orders, so I went ahead and canceled one and went through Amazon Japan to get Masterpiece Reboost.
Ooh.
That's the one I'm getting.
I have nothing bad to say about this.
Yay!
This is what I want out of Masterpiece. This is what I have been missing for the past couple years. I'm not afraid of anything on it. It has some clear plastic, but I'm not afraid it's going to break. It's all pretty much contained to the windshield and the doors.
Where it should be.
Yeah, where it doesn't get in the way of anything else in the toy. It is just so nice and so intuitive to transform. You don't even need the instructions for a Masterpiece toy. It is, and it looks great. I am so happy with this thing. I am going to wait for Trax and Crosscut. I'll just hold on to those pre-orders.
You
Oh, thank you, Skids and Crosscut. And
all those blue robots look alike.
Yeah. I just wanted to get one early to experience the mold, and I am so glad that I did. It is fantastic.
I'm so happy to hear that you are so thoroughly pleased with that. I've been very curious what your reaction would be to it.
My reaction is love, unconditional love.
I can tell.
All right, now for big stupid purchase.
Oh yeah, I forgot about this.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's
that's
really
big.
heavy. Yeah, it's
Lightning Collection
fortuitous that we were talking about Lego earlier.
Oh boy, what did you do?
I have the Titanic.
Oh, neat. Oh my goodness.
My boss at work bought the Titanic and showed me a picture on his coffee table. I asked him, is the coffee table the iceberg? Because it's still not quite in scale.
So for anybody who's just listening to the audio version of the podcast this week, go to the YouTube channel and skip to this part of the show and just watch Matt's reveal of that.
That box is huge.
Yeah.
That is amazing.
I mean, it's not like a Unicron box, but it's like, I would say 40% of a Unicron box.
Yeah.
It's about the thickness of about 2 or 3 Solar Chigokin boxes, or the old Titan, the Combiner Wars sets, about 3 of them stacked together.
It's about 2 Titans, definitely. It's about 2 Titans.
And way heavier, because that is 9,090 pieces of Lego in there.
So that is now the biggest set, correct?
I have no idea. It's the biggest one that I care about. It's super expensive. Like it's HasLab Unicron price. It's like HasLab Unicron, except I care about it.
So I mean, okay, I don't want to like diminish this in any way, but what actually made you care about this?
It just shipwrecks, the Titanic in general, is just an interest of mine.
Okay, I had no idea.
Yeah, so
amazingly, that's one of the things we did not talk about on those couple of road trips we did.
Indeed. Like, yes, I love this so much. Like they could release one with a hospital deco as the Britannic, and I would buy it. And they could, rip some of the first class decks off of, or first class cabins off of it and release it as the Olympic, and I would buy that too. So I have one that didn't sink. But yeah, it is huge and unwieldy and will take a very, very long time to put together. It says it will be 53 inches long when fully assembled.
Where are you going to keep that?
I have a basement.
Not finished.
No, not yet. It will be eventually.
I guess it'll be finished about the same time that build is. So yeah, that's probably fine.
I don't know. But yeah, it's not just the exterior either. Like there's interior stuff to the ship. Like,
oh, wow.
It splits into 3 pieces. So in between funnels 1 and 2 comes off, and in between funnels 3 and 4 comes off. So you can see the interiors of the ship.
Yeah, you gotta get those pieces in there somewhere.
Yeah. So it is ridiculous, and I love it. But I wanted to say something, and I can't remember what it was now.
That is certainly not anything close to what I expected when you said you did a big dumb purchase.
Oh yeah. Yeah, humongous freaking Lego kit. Yeah, because I'm not a hardcore Lego collector. I am very, very picky about what I get. I only have a couple of sets, but this was necessary. This is fabulous. And now I can put it together. This has been sitting in my room for like a couple of days because I wanted it here to lift up in front of the camera.
I mean, well, yeah, but just think how much easier it would have been to lift up in front of the camera if you'd taken the contents out of it.
But then you don't get the sound,
Okay, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
I don't know that we got a lot of the sound the first time, but certainly just then when you were shaking it, we got that classic Lego noise.
Yeah. That's what I meant to mention. So a part of from just seeing the insides, it actually has working pistons. Like you can turn the propellers and the pistons pump up and down.
Ooh.
Like this is a cool freaking set.
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't have an impulse to own any of the sets in this league, I guess I'll call it, but like I'm always impressed with the engineering that they design into this level of sets. Like it, of course, it's a much lower tier price wise, but the Nintendo Entertainment System set with the conveyor belt thing to play. Like that was really cool and clever to me, and like I probably enjoy building that, but like I can appreciate enough just like that engineering exists. Somebody sat and thought, how do we make this video game made of Legos play? Well, we'll turn the dial and just make a belt go. A belt made of Legos.
And that's one of those things that sounds so cool, but I don't need it.
Yeah, exactly.
It would be really cool to have, but I don't need it. Like the Millennium Falcon would be really cool to have, but I don't need it.
Yeah, I need it. The 66 Batmobile would be really cool to have, but I don't need it.
But that's like $30. Yeah. And this big. That's
okay, but that's $30 I could spend on sushi.
No, you should order that Batmobile.
I don't have to order it. It's at Walmart. I could go to Walmart and buy it right now.
But you could do order pickup.
I guess, but it's not so fun because they closed the order in store obelisk thing. Now they're just like handing everything off curbside.
Listen, you're hosting, so you have to order something on the show. It's the rules.
All right, Don, what were you trying to ask me?
What I was going to ask you is, okay, I know you're not really the huge diorama person. I mean, you have very great structured shelves based on theme and characters, but
that's just because I don't have room for dioramas, Don.
I know, but what I'm saying is, for this Titanic, as big as it is, are you going to try to have like some iceberg sculpted out of foam? See if there's something out there. I mean, and do.
Well, I'm not going to have one made out of Legos because that would be an enormous amount of Lego.
Well, I'm just imagining they'll eventually do a Lego iceberg companion piece, so you can at least have it like going through the ice fields or something. I just didn't know. Were you going to like dioramming this up because it's such an impressive piece?
Not this one, no. No, it comes with the little props to hold it upright, so that'll be fine as a display piece.
I mean, we couldn't even convince him to set up an aquarium to fill with Sharkticons. I don't think we're going to get him to create an iceberg field for his 4.5 foot long Titanic.
I just think that's a Titanic mistake, but that's my opinion.
No, Don, you took too long to come up with that. It doesn't count. Like there was time where I could sit there and look at your face and see the wheels turning in your head before that came out. So like, yeah, no, you thought about that one too long. Disqualified.
I'm old and tired. Leave me alone.
Oh, me too. I also haven't eaten anything at all today. It's been a long one. Okay, so I think that's everybody now. So that just leaves.
As far as I know.
Yeah, that just leaves thanking our patrons. Now, of course, if you would like to become a patron, help to support the show and everything we're doing here, you can go to patreon.com/tfradio. And there's benefits to this. We post a lot of exclusive podcast content for our patrons. Just earlier this evening, I forced us to have 20 minutes of stilted, almost unbearable conversation just to produce a pre-show podcast for our patrons. That's an exclusive perk for them to hear us just kind of, force our way through topics. Doesn't that just sound so thrilling and enticing? But there's also other things like History on the Fives, which generally Rob is the host of, except for, very narfy weeks like this one where he had to step back from that. But, that's a great thing every week because, like, it's History on the Fives. Every 5 years worth of topics, like, see what happened 5, 10, 15 years ago and have some discussion on that. And, like, there's some really interesting stuff in the history of Transformers, and sometimes I actually am almost tempted to try to get on the show, but no, I have no time to do anything.
I understand that, but if you ever find yourself with a Tuesday night you've got free, you are welcome anytime.
Well, perhaps
XV, it was a Tuesday.
Perhaps someday. But no, I mean, we've got RFC's Throwback, which we're currently trying to get 2 episodes per month out, but it's more structured, but it's also more freeform in a way, because we're not beholden on that to current event stuff. It's evergreen content. It's, discussion topics, just anything of interest that wouldn't fit in the course of a regular RFC. Like, there's no telling what you'll get out of an episode of Throwback, and that's exclusive for our patrons. And of course, with History on the Fives, patrons at the Touch tier can actually be on that show. If I ever did appear on a week, you could theoretically be on a podcast with me. Isn't that great? No, wait, come back. I'm usually much better than this, but, being host puts you on the spot a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot you can get out of being a patron, and, most of all, you'll help keep us producing RFC and all this other stuff that we do. So, definitely, if you're in the position to do it, come see what we have to offer and give it some consideration. Of course, the other perk of being a patron at the Touch tier is that we will give you a shout out every episode as part of our thank you segment. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for our Touch patrons this week. So thank you to Kevin Dorsey, Ryan Bona, Emmett Stresovich, Rabbits, Hector Bones, that Ness guy, Joey Russell, Jason Hiley, Mike Mallory, Jay Rye, Sean Hamilton, Jacob Owen Lutia, Sean Breton, Spider Bob, Tyrell Gwynn, Paul Schreiber, Rick Mahurin, and Blake Reynolds. Thank you all so much for being our patrons, and thank you to everyone who is a patron and helps to support the show. We appreciate you and value you just so much. I am not equipped to even say thank you for what you do for us and keep us going. So again, Brian Kilby is not here this week. You can find him on Twitter at bkilby or briankilby.com with the ever looming threat of a Christmas album. And
it's been released. I've listened to it already.
Yes, but the looming threat now is that he will do this again next year, unless someone stops him. Please, someone stop him. I kind of forgot what direction I was going with that. Oh yeah, so I don't think he's really done like a Happy Day in Wilkes lately, but reach out to him on Twitter and tell him you want some Happy Day content, and maybe we can make that happen again. It needs to be a happy day.
Sunday, Monday, happy days. So, sorry, wrong happy days. Sorry.
Yeah, a little bit. That's copyrighted. He can't do that. So again, John DeLuna is not with us as a regular part of the show anymore, but you can find him on Twitter and everywhere at that John D. Rob Springer also not here, but he is at zonebase.org and at RoboRobSpringer on Twitter. He's doing all kinds of Rob Springerish things out there, so definitely go and see what he's up to, because there's no telling, it's usually something pretty interesting. And of course, you can find the show all over the internet, your podcast syndicator of choice, basically. We have a Roku channel, we're on YouTube, all these things that are in this list in the show notes but don't have URLs attached, so I can't actually point you directly to them. But if you go to tfradio.net, there's probably links to most of it. I'm on Twitter personally at ChrisRTXV. I am also at PlayWithPhotos on Twitter. That's my account for my toy photography work. You can find that collected at playwithphotography.com. And again, I'm doing my 25 days of toy photography virtual advent calendar this year. So we're a little bit more than halfway through that. So go check that out at playwithphotography.com/advent calendar, all one word, to keep up with the latest postings. And I have an Amazon wish list. It is getting to be the holiday gift giving season. So if you're so inclined, you can send me something through that. At tfradio.net/chrislist. I'll get a present out of you, and you will also give back a little bit to the show through the Amazon referral program. Rob, where are you at?
Okay, I'm on Twitter at Rob Flails. That's the Twitter account for Flail Throughs, my YouTube channel where I've been doing all this Gundam gaming related stuff. Currently wrapping up Gundam Battle Operation Code Fairy. That has been really enjoyable. And if you play Gundam Battle Operation 2, it's actually a really good bargain at even at the deluxe version, because you get a pack of tokens, which is usually like $28. You get 8 mobile suits unlocked in GBO2, and the game itself is pretty good. It's probably the most I've enjoyed a Gundam side story in a very long time. So it's a good game. It's worth checking out. I am the main story I am done with as of today, and the last episode with the last side story will be on Friday. Gundam Battle Operation 2 is in the middle of its winter event. It's a Moon Gundam themed event, and the Moon Gundam will be this week's mobile suit. So that's looking forward to that. And because the week has been NARF, G Generation Genesis is taking one more week off. So, but if you like what I'm doing over there, patreon.com/flailthroughs will let you throw money at me for it. You can make various requests for the games I'm playing. Or I have a wish list set up the same as Chris's at tfradio.net/playlist. And anything you get me off of there will throw a few pennies at Brian to keep the lights on here.
Cool. Okay, Don.
I can be reached on Twitter at HMRC, the number 4 EVR. I do not have an Amazon wish list, but I do have a massive. Well, I do. Well, Well, I do, but not me, Brian. It's the Massey Attack list.
Yes.
Because, as you know, my cat will sometimes show his displeasure by attacking me on camera. He has a very forceful personality. We've talked about it, and he's working on it. But there is a Massey Attack list up with random things that Brian wants to embarrass me with.
We all want to embarrass you with these things, Don.
Yes, I'm sure.
Don't leave us out.
And as it was recently pointed out to me, my fiance and I are less than 1 year away from getting married. We will be getting married in October of 2022. We wanted to give the world time to be less stupid. I don't think that's going to happen. But we will be creating a wedding list for things we need for this new house that we're in. More shelves, I guess, probably is one thing.
Brian, when you listen to this during the editing, make the short link for that tfradio.net/wedding attack. The Massey Attack list is at tfradio.net/Massey Attack for anyone who's so inclined to help us embarrass Don.
Yes, and we will be, probably after the holidays, we'll start in earnest trying to create the wedding list. It's just, we need some downtime to get past all this.
Yeah, you got plenty of time. It's fine.
Stuff.
You don't need to worry about that until the spring, at least.
Yeah, well, see, that's why we set the wedding that far out, is with everything going on. We also didn't want to pigeonhole ourselves into meeting an artificial deadline when we really didn't have to.
Yeah, that would have been a bad thing to combine with the house. Yeah. Okay, Diecast, before you doze off over there.
Yeah, it's been a long day. You can follow me on Twitter at Diecast2. You can see all my reviews at tfradio.net/reviews. Maybe there'll be some new ones coming out soon. And you can also like my Facebook page at Reviews by Diecast. And because it's before Christmas, I also have a wish list at tfradio.net/Diecast list.
And of course, you can find Matt painting you like one of his French girls. All right, I think that's going to about do it for us this week. Thanks for listening, everybody. Hopefully, we will be back to normal operations next week with the live stream and everything. But until then, take care and see you next time.
Bye, y'all.
Later.
This has been Radio Free Cybertron. Visit us at tfradio.net for show notes and to subscribe to the podcast. Follow us on Twitter at tfradio for news and updates. Watch our live stream at tfradio.net/live. Join our Facebook fan page at facebook.com/TFRadio. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, TF Radio Network. Have a question or comment? Leave it on our Facebook fan page or mail it to contact@tfradio.net. This podcast is released under a Creative Commons license. Any part of this podcast can and should be redistributed, but please, proper attribution is required if you know what's good for you. Jeez, when are these guys ever going to move out of their parents' basements?